All right, everybody. Here we are. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Free Hub Podcast. We're here on a Friday night with my co-host James, and we have my good friend, our good friend.
I'm going to say our best friend.
Yeah, our unofficial co-host, Mr.
Friend of the pod,
Matt Reynolds.
What's
up, guys?
What's up? So we're here just hanging out, recording another episode. We got a natural selection on in the background. We were watching Crankworks earlier. And we figured we'd talk about that because it's on. It's the happening mountain bike event right now on the scene. We've seen some gnarly crashes, some gnarly tricks too.
Yep.
What do you think about natural selection, Crankworks? What do you think was going on this year?
I'm liking it right now. So last year we had, just to say, Rotorua is this year, this weekend. That's what they're doing right now. They had the slopestyle today. I watched that. It was great. In my opinion, it was one of the more smooth slopestyle lives that they've had. There wasn't the weather delays or anything like that, which was cool. Yeah. And it's a lot better than last year because I don't even know if you know this, but last year all the guys boycotted dropping in.
Yeah, because they didn't include the women's category, right?
Yep. So that was a huge deal. So we got the women's this year. Yeah. We got the guys this year. It went super smooth in my opinion. It was just drop after drop after drop live, which is what we want, Yeah. Crazy tricks, crazy crashes. They did a new format this year, which is
elimination, right? Or something. Yeah. I've heard mixed feelings about it. I was like looking through comments. I've seen some people really hyped on it and then some people not hyped on it.
I think it's a double-edged sword. I feel I could see both ways on how you'd be hyped on it and not be hyped on it. I'm still in the air on if I like it or not. I enjoyed how it went today because it went so quickly, but my 2 cents, it's not. You have 2 runs for a reason. You're gonna send it. I know some people like to have a safe run and get that out the way, but you're gonna send it regardless. A lot of those, Nikolai today.
Yeah, I was gonna say Nikolai Rogacki. Dude, the POV. What did he do? Like the 540
twister, whatever.
I don't even know what
it
is. Yeah, but then his pedal slips and then he misses the. I'm like. That clip alone is insane, but then everything else is dismissed because you have one pedal slip.
Exactly, and then he was just out. Didn't even get another chance, So, but I think the 2 runs, I think that's nice if you don't have the weather delay, because the weather delay is what makes these things so long. If you have the 2 runs and everybody's able to just drop in, let's just get it out the way, But.
But I think that's the point of the 2 runs, right? It's like what you just said, it's that opportunity. It's like, if you do send it, 'cause you got to put down that first run to try to even progress.
That's a good point.
But then it's like if you mess up on that first run, you're done. You're like, oh come on, I slipped a pedal. It's not like a massive crash or anything like that. It's where it's like I could still come back and stomp something huge on my second run. And win it all.
Yep, and it was Nikolai Rogacki. He would have done exactly
he
that.
He would have done something crazy.
Yeah. Also, who? We're all human. Who can put down? I mean, I guess that's DH racing. I guess that's the competitive format. But I know me. I never put down my best run is the first run.
Yeah.
Never. You always have the nerves, no matter how prepped you are, no matter what you did the night before. That morning of, you have the.
No matter how, like you said, no matter how much prep you have, no matter how much mental toughness you have, when you're dropping in, doing what these dudes and women are doing, it's gnarly. You can't help it. You know, it's you have to. There's always gonna be cobwebs, in my opinion. It's like when you drop in and you're doing a twister, you're doing. I don't even know how many spins that is anymore at this point.
That's so lost.
You know what I'm saying?
I think it's 2, 1.5. I don't know. But yeah, the clip is crazy.
Right? However many spins.
That's when we cue the clip.
Yeah. But however many spins that is, no matter how dialed you are, if you don't do that perfectly, you're not gonna land it. You're not gonna have speed for that next jump. But if you land it perfectly, that's a number 1 run right there. You know what I mean? So like I said, it's a double-edged sword, but at the same time, he didn't land it. So it's lowest score.
There's always, I don't know. There's always pushback when they try to bring in a new
format.
I think that was the same thing. Go back a while, the X Games, park stuff. It used to be a run or whatever, and they still do that, but now it's more of a jam session where it's 60 minutes. You can push off a run and get in the next one.
Yep.
And I think at first that was people are like, oh, I don't really like this, whatever. But then. Yeah, then, allows you to kind of get into that rhythm and whatnot. It's really taking on. It's how they do it.
And I really enjoy that. Like you just said, it to me, it makes the guy, or I'm not in that facility with them, but to me it feels like they're just having a session with the boys.
Yeah.
Because they're all friends outside of that, you know
Yeah.
what I mean? So when they're having a contest and they can just drop in, they just have a session with the boys. And when you're at the skate park, we all know that
You get the gnarliest when you didn't plan to get the gnarly. I think that's
Exactly.
what you're getting. I may have jumped in there, but like,
No, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, it's like you're hanging out with like when you prep. At least from my experience, when you prep for a super gnarly day, that's never your gnarliest day.
Yeah,
and it's
for
the day when you
sure.
didn't think things would line up, but all of a sudden
Yep.
it's like your 4th hour of riding and the vibe's good, and now you're like, oh, I'll do this. Then you get home, you're like, oh, I can't believe I did that today.
Yep,
Like,
yep,
and I
yep.
feel like to bring that into a competitive element is like almost counterintuitive, but like as mountain bikers, that's what we want to see. And It's kind of like this double-edged sword of like, you want to see like Simonek put down a run, or like, you know, like Lonik Bruni put down like just a crazy time, but then at the same time, like, damn, I know what it's like to drop in at 9 a.m. or sit
Yeah.
there for an hour and a half. And
Yeah, for sure.
Which, okay, I kind of have a hot take on all this. I have found that I like watching the women's competition more because I'm not that good of a rider. And when I see like Nikolai Rogakin doing the twister,
Yeah.
I'm like, I will never fucking never do a twister, never do a cash roll. But when I see like with like seeing like Chelsea's run on Rampage, Chelsea was on the podcast, shout out Chelsea. It was like much more like relatable to me as a rider, because sometimes the level of talent is so high. It's like someone picking up an instrument and they just play it so well, and you're like, oh, I'm just trying to learn basic chords here right now. And I don't know, I've almost enjoyed watching the women's segments more just because the men's stuff is so gnarly. It's almost like hard to relate to. The shit they're doing is crazy.
It is wild.
It's also kind of just cool how much like I feel like the women's side of it's like grown.
Right.
Yeah,
well.
that's true.
I think it's
Yeah.
just like the level of riding it's insane. It's like at such a high level, and it's just progressed so quickly that like I don't know. I think there is that kind of like excitement to like watch it, 'cause you're like, oh yeah, this shit's
Like,
going
what are they
down.
gonna do?
Yeah, like,
Exactly.
Yeah, it's like newer and
So many names are coming up. They're
they're like new
getting so
names.
gnarly.
Like I feel like with the men's stuff, like a lot too, you can kind of be like, well, you know, if Semenuk's in it, like
Semenek got
this
another.
motherfucker's probably gonna
Yep.
win.
Yeah,
Yep.
okay.
Like, so I feel like with like the women's side too, it's definitely much more like up in the air. There's like the more high level of like competition. At least as the viewer, like it feels more competitive. 'Cause
Yeah.
you're just like, honestly, this is anybody's game. And yeah, kind of going back to that point, like that's what brings out the gnarliest
For sure.
like tricks. Like, you know, she's like, damn, like I've been working on like maybe like a backflip tailwhip or something. Haven't quite landed it, but I'm
gonna
0.2
send it.
points out of
Yeah.
first, like, you
I'm
know,
gonna
and I
do
need a
it,
win.
yeah.
Like, I
Yep.
think I'm gonna huck this.
Yep.
It's kind of like competitions in like the early 2000s where it's like no one knows what's exactly going to
gonna
happen.
happen, yeah.
Like they could do anything on this run. And,
Yep.
Yeah,
and
it's
then
exciting.
to add to that, I feel like they have something to prove. They're like, we're just as gnarly as you guys are. We're gonna send the same
hands
exact
down.
lines
Yeah.
as you guys are
Yeah.
and go as big. So they've got something to prove, and they're proving it. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
so yeah. So the women are just being just as gnarly as the men these days, and I totally feel what you're saying. It's like it's almost more relatable, but at the same time, like I said, they're riding the same line as the men.
And you still know
It's
So
crazy.
gnarly. Yeah.
I mean, watching natural
Ridiculous,
selection
there's no
right
way.
now, watching them drop in, like we're looking at this drop. There's no way in hell I would even want to like look at that. You know what I mean? I'm not even eyeing that up. You know what I'm saying? And like that's I wish I knew who that was. I see a Red Bull helmet, but
Dude, okay.
so gnarly.
That's the other thing I was to say about like watching natural selection, Rampage, Hardline.
That line was crazy.
Insane.
That was-
It's
That was
insane.
such a gnarly line. That was
It's
so
insane.
wild.
But I feel like, okay, so I'm watching it. Like these riders are killing it, but there's also been super heavy crashes.
Yeah,
And I
it's
think in the
getting
hard
crazy.
line they said 25% of the riders went to the hospital in practice. That's pretty intense. And I'm kind of like watching this, like this is super cool. But like for example, in natural selection, the one in Queensland, they have the wooden drop, and the wooden drop is so big that the margin for error is so high. But every rider has to trick it, and almost every rider, the only trick they can do is throw a suey on it.
Yeah.
Which is like, okay, that's gnarly. But are we reaching a point where the jumps are so big and the consequences are so high that like, are you really gonna be able to progress, or are you gonna reach? Are we reaching a plateau essentially?
Yeah.
We're doing like 40. Are we doing like a hard line's 110 foot jumps?
Yeah.
Are we doing 200
And
foot
that's
jumps?
and that's on a DH race.
yeah,
Which
like
is crazy, dude.
Are we hit this
to
plateau?
Like
I don't
ride
know.
some of the gnarliest downhill stuff, and it's like, oh yeah, on top of that, here's this 110-foot double.
Yep.
Like, have fun.
And like
and they're 3 in a row.
Yeah,
It's
man.
like-
and then like, what's all the stuff in the what are those jumps called in like South Africa?
Dark Fest.
Dark Fest?
Yeah. Death Fest.
Yes.
Yeah.
140-foot backflips. I agree. I think it's just like where do you go from here?
Yeah, where's the line? Is this the peak of the sport? No one wants it to be the peak of the sport, but
No.
you don't want people to like get more injured. So it's like, what? I don't know. I just when I was watching, I'm like, this is so cool, but what are we gonna do 5 years from now? Like,
so here's my thing with that. I think we have a long way to go. I was listening to a podcast, and they had Sam Reynolds on there, who created Dark Fest with Matt Maduff way back in the day. And they were saying that people, like, the biggest jump they have there now, I think it's either a 110 or a 120. Tom Eisted just flipped it.
Yeah, he front flipped it.
Yeah, he flipped it.
Front flipping 120 feet?
So he flipped it, right? And so they're saying that they want to go to like 140 now. That's what he said a couple weeks ago on the podcast. But he also said when they did the 120 or 110, whatever it is, only a handful of guys that went to Dark Fest are hitting those jumps, right?
So you have like the top 1%, and then you have the 0.01%. You have like 10 riders in the world, yeah.
And then to add to that, he says people aren't around the world practicing these size jumps because there's only one place in the world you're getting those size jumps, right? People can try to replicate it. You can get like 60-foot jumps at bike parks. Which is still crazy.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, insane, right? But you're not getting to the 100 feet.
Yeah, you're not doubling that.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So to get to my point, what I'm trying to say is, like, I think we still have a lot more to go, but I feel like people are gonna send it, but I feel like we're getting to that mindset where now it's getting really dangerous. You know what I mean?
So it's like, does this like, are we gonna see like slope style? I mean, we're pretty much watching it, I guess. Slope style, natural selection.
Well, I mean, like, look what
I mean, when you're throwing backflip tail whips on 110-foot jumps.
Look what Rampage has turned into, dude. Like backflip, like tail whipping, like 60-foot drops.
That's insane.
Brandon Sebnick said,
yeah. Like, have whatever feelings you have about how Rampage has kind of turned out to be. Like, it's still crazy.
It's still the gnarliest mountain bike sport out there. I don't care what you say, whatever you feel about Brandon's run or who deserved to win
Dual
or who
crown
deserved to be higher, whatever it may be. The man did an oppo tail whip into a lily pad that's on the side of a cliff.
Yeah, that's insane.
Stop it.
Yeah.
Stop it. You know, and I'm like, what are we doing, you know? And then
crazy.
The thing is that's crazy about it is that where suspension is right now, like, the suspension gets better every single year, and we still haven't really even
hit the plateau of what suspension
not
can
even
do
close
in terms of and like,
not even close.
Yeah.
We have trophy truck suspensions out there. We have we have all of these motorsports that have crazy suspension designs and crazy like chematics and all these things that they can do. And like, there's still like every single day I see a new high pivot suspension thing on a mountain bike or
a dual chain now is the hot dual chain with a gearbox. And like,
what are we doing? What are we talking about? You know what I mean? So with that being said, I feel like we have so far to go. I feel like we're just going to keep pushing it. I mean, Braga just landed the drop that Bender did back in 2001 or something like that.
Crazy.
The insane.
Yeah. And dude, I had this pop in my head. We're talking about
shit.
pushing it. Do you remember, not this last Rampage, but 2 years ago, the G Atherton drop? And when he just went super far down and then flipped up. Like, when I remember seeing them, like, I don't think a human being can jump from a point to another point without a parachute. Like, I think we're hitting the peak of what's physically possible.
G Atherton is also Terminator.
Like, how do you do that?
G Atherton's. I think I want to say he did that after the Red Bull crash when he was doing that. Have you guys seen that video?
The ridge line? Yeah, he did it after the ridge line. Yeah.
He's not human.
Yeah, it's insane.
And
and then he just started Atherton bikes, which is killing it.
Awesome.
I would love to ride an Atherton. The bikes are well built. They look cool.
And that goes back into my technology conversation. Like, how far can we push the technology to take more and more punishment for these guys to do this? Because right now, with how hardline is going, with how natural selection is going, you have to either set your suspension up stiff to ride big jumps, or you have to set it up plush to ride like roots and steeps and to keep your speed, so you're not just bouncing around all over the place on the track. But now these things are getting mushed together.
Yeah, and that's what the live valve and the flight attendant's
suspension confuses me.
It's so crazy.
It's not real.
Yeah,
it's not real.
Okay,
so,
well,
you know,
so like talking about pushing technology,
mm-hmm.
I want to talk to you about pushing the body and mind.
Okay.
In particular,
all right.
backflips.
Backflips.
We said it in the last potty, but everyone knows you for your backflips.
Yep.
I have never done a backflip in my life, even into a pool.
Mm-hmm.
I've never been upside down and come around the other way.
Okay.
So I want to hear, like, what's your thought process when it comes to flipping a backflip?
Okay.
What was your first one like?
All right.
And then, like, if you had advice to give to someone learning backflips, because I feel like people might be listening to this, maybe some groms or something, might fantasize a backflip. You know, it's like a peak riding goal. Like, what's it like doing a backflip?
Okay. I'm going to start off by saying that backflips are easier than any trick that you'll learn, in my opinion.
Kind of agree.
In my opinion, any trick that you'll learn.
They're scary.
They're scary. They're one of the scariest.
Yeah, they seem so,
The physics of it is they're probably easier than 360s.
Right?
They're just a higher consequence.
Not even probably easier than 360s. I can still barely get. Okay, no, I'm not gonna say I can barely get 360s around. I can get 360s around, but I'm not gonna 360.
I've never seen you throw a 3 actually.
My point exactly.
I've seen Matt throw many 3s, but not a backflip. I've seen you throw many backflips, but you have this like.
But how many more tricks do you see Matt throw than me?
Well, Matt
not much.
hates this part, but Matt is very good at the BMX bike. I have seen him do lots of tricks, and look at he's already rolling his eyes. He's already going, no, don't talk about it. But Matt's like the best BMX rider I've seen in person. I know there's way better people. I know, blah, 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 but you got to make them uncomfortable. You know?
Yeah, because it's true.
Yeah.
It's very true.
Yeah.
So, like, back to the point.
Like, what's it like if you're going up? Like, I saw you you did the backflip of the step-up jam. What's it like going up to a big lip knowing you're flipping?
So it's like I said, it's literally all mental, right? So yeah, and I think
you came unplugged because I'm not hearing you in the.
Hello, check.
Something
check.
There it goes.
There you go.
Wait, no, I think
is the cord just messed up?
Check.
You're good now?
Hello.
Yeah.
Hello.
All right, cool. Sorry.
Okay. So what's it like? Like you're doing a backflip, you're rolling up to a massive lip.
Yep.
What's going through your head before you hit a big lip, knowing you're gonna flip?
So when I'm going up to a lip, really all I'm thinking is push through the lip and just kind of like push through the lip, stay sturdy, and then just keep looking for the landing. Basically, I don't want to
tilt your head back, like chin up.
100%. So I touch like the back of my head to my neck like this, you know.
I want to do that too, right?
But like, you don't want a scorpion. You don't want to reach for it. You don't want to bow your back. You don't want to do any of that. You want to
So it's like straight back.
And I'm speaking on like on a full suspension bike right now.
Yeah.
So you want to like compress so you don't want. You want to have your bike set up to jump, first off. You know what I mean? You don't want to be like bucking all over the place. You want to feel if you're on a full suspension bike, you want to feel very confident in your suspension and knowing how your bike's going to go and feel off of that lip. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So once you have that dialed already, you shouldn't be even trying tricks or flips if you don't have that dialed. But if you have that dialed.
Good advice.
Yeah. If you have that dialed, you want to go. Compress in my opinion, compress your suspension and push through the lip. And once you push through the lip, you just kind of want to go with the lip, push it, and then you're kind of tucked here. I like to tap my brakes at the top of my flip, I don't know why, but it makes me feel like I flip a little bit faster. You know.
Well, you definitely do.
Yeah. You know. So I like to keep everything open, and then when I'm about like if my head's right here, my legs are right here, the wheels are right here. When I'm about here, I tap the brakes, and then that kind of just like pushes me through. But you just want to make sure that you
wait. So you pop off and like a quarter of the way through the rotation, you hit
just
the brake?
tap a brake. Yeah. Just tap the brake.
Oh, and that like it triggers the nosedive, which then helps the rotation.
Yep. So
so you do that on every flip?
For the most part, yeah, because I like to flip slow, so I can like get around. This is gonna sound counterintuitive.
Could you do a backflip on a brakeless bike?
100%.
Yes.
Okay.
Seen him do it.
I was thinking that the brake was a big component is a brake a big component on the full suspension?
On the full suspension, for me it is, because if I'm flipping my full suspension, I'm always flipping a gapped jump. I'm always flipping more than.
And you have to calibrate the landing and.
Yeah, so like if I'm taking it to the step up, I'm going through and I want to flip. I want to go up instead of go out a little bit more. So I go up and I kind of pull out, and then I go up and I flip. I tap the brake and then I start to fall a little bit. But if I'm flipping a little bit further, I don't tap the brake until I'm about to land, which is weird. I don't know.
Yeah, I think
still sounds
scary.
Well,
Jackson,
that didn't make you feel any more confident in backflips.
One, backflips are scary as shit. Two, I think the brake thing you're just like hyper fixated on.
Yeah,
I think that's like such.
You taught me that on jumps.
Yeah,
so I was like, is that a thing that other riders do?
I think it just comes from learning jumps. It's like especially when you're younger, when you're hitting dirt jumps or at the skate park or whatever. The brake thing is really sometimes more of just like a comfort.
Yeah,
100%.
It's become a comfort thing.
Yeah. It is like a
100%,
comfort thing. So it's like you're hitting something new, you'll grab it because then like the bike is just easier to like maneuver.
Mm-hmm.
But it vice versa, it's more stable when both wheels are spinning because it keeps the bike straight. So
inertia.
Yeah. It's just I don't know. I think. The whole brake thing, sorry, super random side tangent.
Yeah,
but I think it's just like it's just how you grew up riding.
Yeah,
like that's how I was.
No, that's because
it tripped you guys out when I started riding with you, Ben, and like everybody a lot. You're like, dude, why are you stopping the back wheel? I was like, so I can just drop the nose easier and like get into the get in.
And when I first heard
into the landing
that
more,
blew my mind that you had that level of bike control. I was like, there's no way someone could calculate that on every jump.
Yeah.
And then now I'm like, I can't not do that on jumps.
Because you can just feel if the bike's just getting too high, like coming up too much in the front end, you just grab the back brake and it just drops.
100%. Yep. And that's exactly. He described the feeling that I was trying to explain a lot better. I tend to explain things.
I know how Jay rides.
Yeah. This is growing up together right here.
Yeah. These are dudes who grew up riding bikes together. Shout out Val Vista again.
Yeah, shout out Val. But he explained it perfectly right there. The brake thing, we were kind of going a little bit too deep into it. That's just like a comfort thing, Mm-hmm. The most important part is to not simplify. Is to simplify the flip as much as possible, and we just completely overcomplicate it. Yeah. So don't do that.
Yes.
Don't do that.
Listen to him. Not
Point is, go fast, be confident, and turn your head backwards.
Yeah,
like straight to the sky. Yeah, and push through the lip.
We are not liable for any backflip injuries.
Push through the lip.
We'll
make sure you push through the lip.
Okay, that's a perfect segue. We're talking about Val Vista, backflips, things, growing up riding.
Yep.
For this episode, we reached out to our fantastic Instagram audience and reached out to you guys for reader questions, and you guys gave us a solid set of questions that are some great talking points. So on the note of skate parks, Master Shredder 666.
Yep. Shout out Justin.
What's up,
Instagram
Justin?
friends, you guys know him.
Yep.
Probably see him.
Val local.
Yeah.
Another one.
He said, "What is your guys' number one favorite skate park?"
I'm not.
No, I was excited. I wanted to answer this one.
I know.
I'm going to jump in right here.
So
Is this a shout out for the skating homies?
Yep.
I called it Volcom Park, technically Mesa Park in Southern California. If you know Mesa, you know Mesa. I think it's like your guys' Val Vista of the East Bay. Everyone in SoCal knows Mesa. One of the best designed parks, huge culture there. And I want to give a shout out to
Kind of describe it for me. I want to say I know what it is.
It's the Volcom skate park. Volcom built it early on.
I've definitely seen it, right?
It has a 5-stair. You might not have seen it in like major clips. Like it's not like Instagram famous, but like there's pros there every night. The main thing is like there's a step up that's not that big, but it's like the perfect thing to learn tricks on.
Like a little Euro kind of.
There's like a Mellow 7 rail. Oh, the most viral clip there is the guy who tried to do the backflip or front flip out of a bowl on the BMX bike.
Anthony Napolitan, he got stuck into
the between the bar. Yeah, that's Mesa. Yeah.
Okay,
so that
I do know that park. That's a sick park.
Yeah, so grew up skating that, and I just had to give a shout out to Mesa Park.
Shout out Mesa.
I wanted to talk about it.
Yeah, hell yeah. Shout out Mesa. That's cool.
Yeah, but that clip, we should cue that clip right now if you're watching the video, because that is one of the craziest things in like human history.
Yeah.
It's insane. His balls didn't get destroyed.
Yeah. He just didn't get put on a spit and roasted. Right? Bro, that was the most insane thing I've ever seen in my life.
Yep.
And everybody, like, okay, hella random. This is so random. But, like, for, like, me and you, like, we knew who Anthony Napolitan was.
I was just going to bring this up.
This dude fucking...
I had no idea who it was.
Anthony Napolitan was an absolute shredder.
Animal.
In the early thousands BMX scene.
Yep.
Yeah, in the early thousands BMX scene, like when Mega Ramp was introduced, dude, he was like doing double front flips over over like the 50-foot gap on the ramp into like triple tail whips. He was winning X Games parks, like gold left and right. Yeah. Homeboy was like, dude, like at one point it was like a battle between like him and Scotty Cranmer.
Yeah,
like,
Anthony DePaulins is the man
in the parks, and the dude rode
man.
dirt park. Like he was an absolute ripper. So shout out to his brother too,
Ronnie
Napolitan was also. Ripper, who now owns a coffee shop.
Yep, I didn't know
Super
that.
random. Yeah, I think back home, because they're like Midwest boys or whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway.
A lot of BMXers come out of the Midwest.
So it was super random to see that, because I'm seeing it on his Instagram, you know what I mean? Because like following him, like, holy shit. Like,
just goes crazy.
And then it's just everywhere, bro.
I saw it on Ridiculousness for the first time.
Ridiculousness, meme pages, like it's everywhere. People are sending this to me. I was like, dude, Anthony Naps is like, holy shit.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, right, they don't even know.
They don't know who this is.
Yeah, I didn't know. And when
dude, he rode for Hoffman Bikes. It was like sponsored by Levi's and Target and shit. It was so funny. That was such a funny era of like BMX, but so sick.
Damn.
And then now he also rides mountain bikes, which I guess we'll get to that a little bit later.
Yeah.
But
okay. Shout out Mesa Park.
Yeah.
Shout
out Mesa Park.
Yeah. Dude, that fucking shout all the homies know. If you guys see this, what up, guys? Jay, I think I can guess. It's probably got to be Val Vista.
No.
What? What is?
I mean,
no.
What is my favorite skate park?
Favorite skate park.
So, did I read the question wrong? Was this favorite Bay Area skate park or favorite skate park in general? My favorite skate park.
Let's go favorite skate park in general. Let's do both. Okay. Because I didn't answer. I answered in general. Bay Area, Fremont Park. Sorry, I'm interrupting you. Fremont Park's sick. Jay, you're on.
So my favorite skate park, Matt's written this a lot with me. For some reason I'm a sucker for Ben Lomond skate park.
Oh, fun park.
It's so sick.
Dude, I was trying to think about a good bowl.
Yeah, Ben Lomond skate park.
And like I stumbled upon a clip of me, you, and Dave when we were in Ben Lomond. Like I was like riding the sub box, in the bowl.
I remember that.
And I like went into like a bar Lucky.
I remember. I literally remember that.
Like had one of the sickest foot jams I've ever had in my life. Like sitting there, and Jay is filming. And he's like, he does the little like Jay laugh snicker thing. He's like, I got that.
That was such a good impression of him right there. He does it. I can't do it. Yeah.
But so Bilo, shout out Bilo. That's
where's Bilo? I don't know where
it's in the Redwoods. Yeah.
Is it a BMX park?
No.
There's like a tiny little like plaza on the other side too. It's a fun park.
It's super fun.
Yeah. It's a really tiny park, but it's sick.
It's super fun.
Whoa. All right. That's new.
Yeah, we should hit it.
Yeah. It's super fun. Yeah. Let's do a Santa Cruz skate park trip.
All right, Matt, what's your favorite park? Bay Area or anywhere?
Yeah, I think Bay Area it doesn't exist anymore, but I think I have to say this. I mean, obviously Val, that's the local. The
I
homies,
love Val.
Whatever,
don't get me wrong. Come on,
So you guys shout out Val. I gotta shout out the Mesa Park homies.
I think Jay can attest to this. I actually kind of have two. They're tied a little bit, just because they're both epic sessions. But Ramp Rats.
Yeah. I had to do the funeral music.
Yeah. R.I.P. But dude, Ramp Rats was so dope.
Was that the one in Marin?
No, so it was in Petaluma for a little bit, and it was an indoor park.
Yeah.
And then
BMX park, bike park.
Yeah, and then like you could skate it too and stuff. I think they had like skate nights and bike nights. Yeah. And then it moved to Santa Rosa.
Okay, I remember I remember hearing about an indoor park
off like Bicentennial or something. I drove past that all the time. But like, dude, me, Jay, and like my brother, like, God, we had to be like 8th grade, like sophomore year. Sure. And Dave obviously had his license, and like we didn't drive yet. And like it'd be a Friday night, we just get straight out of school and just mob up to Santa Rosa.
Dude, Mountain Dew and props BMX videos all night before.
Yeah, dude.
And then Ramp Rats the next day.
Mountain Dew.
Yeah, bro, it was crazy.
Dude up, man.
That shit was so sick. And I just think like, dude, like sometimes or like. Yeah, I'm gonna say Ramp Rats. Like the sessions we had there, it was just like
the memories are crazy. Yeah,
random sessions and like, dude, Props filmed some stuff there. Props, I don't know. Do you know Props, Jackson?
Nope.
So like Road Fools, it's kind of like
the equivalent
to like it's like Thrasher almost.
So
like,
Thrasher, King of the Road. I'm gonna say it. I don't care. Come for me. King of the Road took everything that they're doing from Props Road Fools. I'll say it because Props Road Fools had what, dude? How many volumes did they have?
There was
out?
like 18, 19.
Every single year they'd put out a road trip of like the sickest BMXers at that time, and this is when BMX was BMX, dog. This is when it was that ish, bro. Like you. I mean, come on now. I'm not gonna get into that, but those nights sitting with Matt watching those videos, just getting hyped up to go to Ramp Rat, seeing all of our like the guys that are the GOATs now as the young Groms coming up on the teams that they made legendary is like thinking back on those nights. It's like I'm blessed that we had those nights. You know what I mean?
Just a little rant from me. You're saying like those nights. I remember that very clearly. Like you'd watch a video part, or you'd be waiting to watch a video part, and you'd watch, and I just can't fucking wait to get back out there and try something. Yeah. And I feel like, I don't know, like that's lost with the social media generation. There's so much content, and like that was the theme, like the natural selection. They're like, we made an effort to not watch any clips so we can see it live for the first time.
I think like that's where my turn off for biking is kind of like right now. You're just like, I just see all this stuff, so like why am I gonna watch the event? Like I'll just get
and I think it's a problem, but it's like we can't. I don't know.
There's no way. There's just no way around it.
It's just everyone wants to be first and like get the information out there. Because
that's how they make their money too. And that's where it comes from, right?
You can't hate on it, but it just is what it is. And like with the natural selection thing specifically, I mean, we knew that Simon Godziak won it 2 weeks ago, and then they only
I knew Start crashed and had to be, and it was like,
and then they aired it last week?
Yeah, man.
Yesterday.
That was kind of weird.
Yeah, right. Like, I mean, I've talked about it. You imagine like Travis Pastrana's first double backflip just being blasted over, like, and not having that like,
or like I still get goosebumps. Like
I know that's so random, but
clip.
Like that's such a pinnacle of just like
action
sports.
Yeah, and you had to be there and see it, and then you had to
he was there
for months after though. Like, wait, he actually did it. It's not fake.
Dude,
it's
just
real.
Like singing on TV too. You're like, what the fuck is this guy gonna do?
Yeah,
because there's not like the whole prep like. Watch me like learn how to do double black. Like this,
you don't have a vlog for 2 weeks before.
Wow.
Because
we don't watch the background, but we didn't watch the backgrounds. He just came out X Games. There were rumors that he was
came out X Games mode.
Yeah,
he came out X
like,
Games.
He had
mode.
something crazy. Pushed back the ramp. Like they stopped the whole event, and then they pushed it. They like stopped the whole event and they pushed the ramp back a little bit, and then grabbed sandbags and lifted it to give it more of like an arc, you know. So everyone's like, what the fuck is this guy doing? And then then obviously after that everything.
Dude, what was
like
the crowd's reaction when you did the first double backflip?
You know what's crazy? And I have said this multiple times. You can watch the video. I was probably like 8, 9, 10, something like that. Super young, dude. Like, coming off like MX versus ATV Unleashed and ish. But I remember that moment. Like, I'm sitting in the stands.
Core childhood memory for sure.
How could it not be?
And like, dude, everybody stands up, and I'm like not tall enough. I can't see over people. So like, I'm like,
so you see all the adults stand up.
All the adults are standing up, and like teenagers and all this stuff. So I'm looking through cracks, and I can't see anything. I'm like trying to dodge my way through. So I fold the seat down because it's in Staples Center, right?
Yeah, so goodness gracious! I've never heard this before.
Crypto.com
arena. So I put the seat like face down, and I'm standing on the seat to get over the heads of the crowd.
Sick.
And then Travis was like my favorite rider, like as a kid who.
Travis Pastrana.
Yeah.
Travis Pastrana.
He's all of our favorite riders.
Yeah, but like,
come on,
he's your favorite rider's favorite rider.
Come on.
So anyway, like he's sitting up, dude, had like the textbook lumberjack,
you
like,
never
uniform
16
on,
shoulder pads.
And like in the core, like, so just get on with it, I guess. To make a very short story very long. You hear the introduction. They're like, Travis been working on something. Like, what does he have? Like, we don't know, but we're about to find out. He drops in. You just hear like the 2-stroke, and just pins this thing. Just like,
noise.
And in that moment, I remember like it just being silent.
That's
like I could drop a pin and I could hear it go ding 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 like on the ground, and then he landed it. Explosion. Like just roaring and all this stuff. That's exactly how I remember it.
You don't get moments like that anymore.
That just gave me goosebumps.
I have watched that video every anniversary. It comes on like Instagram, like whatever it is. I've seen that video 1,000, maybe 1,000,000 fucking times.
That's what we live for, bro.
It was so loud the entire time. Like,
oh, really?
There was no point of it being quiet.
But you just remember in your mind.
That's how I remember
suspense
viewing
was so
it. It
high
was
that
so
you're like,
fucking high, dude. Like, it was just you.
I'm not even gonna front, bro. I bet you every single person that was in that
Probably had
building
the same
remembers
shit.
that.
Yeah, it's so wild. It was so wild. And then, Soundmaster Kayla.
Yeah, Salema, yeah.
Salema, yeah, dude.
Yeah.
He had one of the dopest
Calls.
commentator
Yeah.
calls I've ever heard in my life.
The GOAT,
'Cause
Salema. You're the
I
GOAT.
love that man.
Yeah.
Literally,
What did he say?
Cornerstone of action sports.
For sure.
And such. Yeah, okay, that's a different tangent.
conversation. That's a whole podcast.
Yeah, but what did he say after
Yeah, yeah.
the-
So what he said, like, there was crazy shit that went on in that Staples Center that night. We had like the first double flare and like BMX vert, whatever.
Kevin Robinson.
So Travis hits this, and I see this coming back to the hotel, and the call was, he's like, "Oh my God, he landed it! How many times can you find the Holy Grail in one building?" And I was just like, "That's cool."
I'm good.
I have lived
Action sports.
so crazy. I know this is about East Bay riding, but
No, that's a great story.
it's cool.
Yeah, man.
But
Dude, okay.
You asked us our favorite skate park. This is what you get, dude.
Yeah.
This is what you get.
yeah,
Don't
Okay.
let us talk about skate parks, man.
No, just to keep it, stick into our schedule. I love that story.
Yeah, that was awesome, dude.
Well, okay. While we're on it and we're in the rabbit hole, tell us about I should know his name. The skater who went off and then
Danny Brown?
landed to flat. I should know his
Danny
name.
Brown.
no, it wasn't
Danny Brown's a
Brown.
rapper.
Danny Brown's the rapper. Danny
Yeah.
Wade's
His last
the
name.
skater.
Wade.
Yeah.
His last name
It
was
was-
Jake
That'd be
Brown.
so
It was
Danny
Jake
That'd be
Wade,
Brown.
so
Jake
sick
Brown.
if Danny Brown did it.
Yeah.
Danny Brown do it. Hell yeah.
That
Oh,
was
that was
Jake Brown.
So that's the year after Travis's double. Same building.
Is that the
same
gnarliest
location.
skateboard crash ever?
That was terrifying because in a crazy term, like coming back to the whole elimination run thing that we were talking about earlier, it was his second run, and like he'd been, he'd been trying this like fat 3 or 540 or whatever over. Or maybe that was Bob's run, but he was trying something over, over the big
The
like
mini
70,
mega?
the 70-foot gap. It was huge. And he just hadn't landed it, never got it right, couldn't set up for the quarter, all that great, stomps it. So everyone's like, holy shit, losing their mind. And then you just hear it, and immediately it was just like, oh no.
Yeah, those clips are silent.
Yeah, that clip is silent.
And then
That clip is silent.
he just flies like 15 feet out from the coping and just
Oh, it's so scary.
again, I'm also like 10, 11.
Were you there for that?
Yeah, I was there for that too. Back-to-back years. I think it was like X Games 12 and 13, which might be some of the most gnarly years of X Games. Yeah. I can't, but yeah, I was there for that, and I was like, I just watched someone die.
Both shoes
we
just
also-
fly off.
That was crazy.
That was so gnarly.
And then
Your
the
shoes to fly off.
And then he just
Oh my god.
hold on. He gets back up and walks off.
yeah,
Yeah.
and then he
Does
walks.
he drop back in?
No.
Okay.
He had like a punctured lung and rib and shit. But yeah, walks
still,
off.
that's-
So
Walks off. Yeah.
I'm sitting there. I'm like, how are they gonna go after this? Like, and then Bob still has to drop.
Yeah.
And then I think Burnquist ended up winning it on that next run right after Jake Brown in very Bob Burnquist fashion, being
Very Bob Burke was
insane. But yeah, and then the next day I was sitting at one of the dirt bike events. Like I think it was like dirt bike freestyle. Like maybe it was like practice or qualifying or something. And I'm sitting there and I look over and I see this guy sitting on the lip landing with a silver medal during like a commercial break, but he had like a crutch and like bandaged up, and it was Jake Brown back at X Games hanging out
Come on, bro.
one of the dirt landings for freestyle motocross. Because they were doing something during like a
What do you say to
commercial
that?
segment like about it, and him still holding his
What do
like
you even
silver
say to
medal
that?
or whatever. That's just
What do you even say to that?
Action sports people are the strongest,
What do you
most
even say to
resilient
that?
people.
that's the
Like,
most badass shit.
You can
Like-
literally fall from a 3-story building, and you're like, "No, I'm good."
Yeah.
A literal 3-story building.
Someone get me a
bro.
beer, I'll walk it off.
I'm cool, bro.
But you're gonna tell me I'm not gonna see the event?
Come on.
Like,
It's like skate park kids are different, bro. We just keep slamming, and we're like, no, that wasn't good enough. And we get not even keep slamming. We could land the trick and be like, that wasn't good enough.
Yeah.
And
then to make it true, baby.
Come on, baby. Like, come on, baby.
You know who's got a sick quote about that? Who like I feel like has no perspective, but then is Jerry Seinfeld on one of his comedians in cars getting coffee. I can't remember the guest, but he says, whenever I see young kids skateboarding, I feel like total faith in the future because I'm like, those are the people who know how to fall down and get back up and try again, no matter how many times they fall down. And I think that's true for a lot of people and adults. It's like I think of all of our lives, we've been knocked down many times, and the fact it's like, you know, been fired, been through whatever shit. It's like when you're not gonna land the trick, like you know what I mean. Like sometimes I think like I'll watch like I love watching like Brandon Westgate, one of my favorite skaters, like his clips of him trying, because sometimes he'll like try stuff the first couple tries. There's no way he can possibly land this, and then 2 minutes later you're watching the clip of him landing it, and yeah, I think there's a lot of symbolism to that, to resilience of life, and like
I love that you said you can get fired. You can have
you
many
can be
setbacks.
dunked, you can do whatever, man. But
you're not gonna land the trick though.
Yeah, you're still.
Are you not gonna? Come on,
you're
man.
You're not gonna show up and try it. Yeah.
Come on, man. Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's land that trick. Can I give a top 3 in the Bay Area real quick?
Yeah, top 3 in the Bay Area.
Top 3 favorite Bay Area skate parks. Lake Cunningham. The reason I say Lake Cunningham is okay. I'm not gonna say favorite. I'm not gonna say favorite. I'm gonna say best skate parks in the Bay Area. Lake Cunningham is number 1 because if you're coming from the Bay Area, I mean, if you're coming from anywhere else, like around the world, and you want to come to a skate park that has everything you need right there, if you're a biker, inline skater, skateboarder, Lake Cunningham, you're not gonna beat it. It's I think it's like the 3rd biggest skate park in the world, or 4th biggest skate park in the world, or something crazy like that. So
might be.
It's on the list. It's definitely in the top 10. I
know
that
why,
for a fact.
You know why skaters don't go there?
Why?
You have to pay, and you have to wear pads and a helmet.
So yeah,
the pads and the helmet. It's just a helmet now. They were real strict. I get it. I didn't like it at first.
Yeah,
because
it's one of the few skate parks in California that requires it, and the fact you have to pay $5 and sign a waiver form and give your ID is the most unskater shit.
So it is, but anywhere else in America, if you go to the Midwest, you have to do that to ride a indoor skate park. So those guys coming out here, they won't think it's that big of a deal. So Lake Cunningham's number 1. You got dirt jumps, slope style, bike park, skate park, all that stuff. Number 2 for me, I'm gonna say Fremont Skate Park.
I love Fremont. Fremont's chronic.
Yep, Fremont's super dope, but that's only if you're a skateboarder. They're pretty hesh about that.
They are.
So it is what it is.
My friends and I have a joke where years ago we were gonna go to Fremont Skate Park. And we hadn't been there, and we Googled it, and then we realized there were Google reviews of the skate park. We're like, that's so, like, who writes a Google review of a skate park? And the top review just said, Mini Bowl is chronic with a K.
Oh, my God.
And we still, that's become like chronic, but like,
yeah,
we sell like a spot. If it's chronic, like, it's got it, like, Fremont Park dope. Is chronic.
It's chronic, dog.
Yeah, it's so fun to skate.
I haven't said that so
fun.
long.
Yeah, the snake run there is super sick.
Yeah. And then the newest one, or not the newest one, but in my opinion, Milpitas Skate Park. I say number 3.
Yeah, that park looks sick. I haven't been yet.
The park's sick.
It's
super fun. Super fun. I forgot who. I think the same person that built Fremont also built Milpitas, also built Half Moon Bay. Don't quote me on that, but
Half
I think
Moon
that's
Bay
true. Park. It's super slow. Yeah.
No disrespect.
The pool's dope, but and then my honorable mention, Pacifica Park. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
It was built by the Tony Hawk Foundation.
Oh.
Yeah.
Cool. Hey, shout out Tony Hawk.
hey, shout out Tony Hawk. That's like an Eric Andre thing. Shout out Tony Hawk. Hey.
No, but for real though.
So our second question is from Loose Spokes. Yep. He had a great question.
Shout out Loose Spokes.
He said, if you're visiting the Bay Area, what is the one trail you would recommend for someone to ride? And that's
I'll let you guys
question.
go first on that one.
It's definitely tough. Yeah, I'm gonna let Jackson take.
Okay, if it's tough for you guys, I can answer it. I was gonna let you guys go because I think it's so easy.
You think it's so easy? Opinion. What is it? Yeah.
I wouldn't even say just the one trail. I would say a trail system / a spot. And I don't want anyone to get mad at me, but I'm going to say Pacifica just because you can get so much in one place. If you want downhill, you got it. If you want rock slabs, you got it. If you want
awesome ass views,
the best views in California, you got it. Don't come on a foggy day, but
year-round good soil conditions,
good food, the fanciest Taco Bell in the world, great coffee, a beach. I mean, if you're visiting the Bay Area and you can only go one place to go ride, at this point in my life, if I didn't live here, I'd be upset if someone didn't tell me about Pacifica. Just being honest.
That's what I was gonna say, but you summed that up, man. That was good.
Yeah, it's a pretty cut and clear answer for me.
Yeah.
Unless you obviously go to UC, but
yeah, it's kind of crazy. I take that question as like it really depends on like what are you looking for, like what's your riding level at?
Yeah,
because I think what's kind of crazy about like East Bay, West, like just kind of the Bay Area in general and Greater Bay Area is like the riding up here can get so gnarly so quick.
Yeah, you can get humbled. Really quick.
So you can get humbled really fast, and it's like obviously there's crazier riding elsewhere and gnarly stuff, but
always is.
I'd be remiss if I didn't say like, there's some gnarly stuff out here. Yeah, it's really fun. It can be really steep. It can be big jumps. So like, I think. Honestly, for me, knowing my UC 100%. If I'm out here for a weekend, I think that's the best. Like, it's a maze.
Yeah, it's hard to get.
And honestly, I don't even know any of the trail names. I don't know where they are. I don't even strive. But anything you ride out there is so fun.
Yep.
So UC is a little gnarly. Pacifica's got everything in between.
And the
what
reason
would be like if there's like an entry level rider? What would you say? What would be like a blue like? Sutro, Fassler.
Dude,
Fassler's still really tough because that climb sucks.
Boy Scout. You don't have to hit the jumps on Boy Scout.
That is true. Yeah, there are a lot of people who session
don't have
Boy
to hit
Scout.
and then like the ride down back to the
well, because then there's the stuff on the backside too.
Yeah, you don't.
That's pretty fun.
There's also
there's so much out there,
and not like gnarly riding, but in terms of scenery, you got to mention the North Bay.
Yeah,
like North Bay.
I've never
has
ridden the
crazy
North Bay
ride.
that much, honestly.
There's really cool cutty trails, but amazing views. And also, we've completely left East Bay out of this. Briones, great place to go. If you just want to go to a trail network, Briones is killing it. JMP, Joaquin Miller Park, has a great trail network.
Yeah.
I think so. So with that being said, you have to know people and you have to know where you're going with those spots.
Not JMP. JMP is pretty easy.
Okay, not JMP.
I think Briones is kind of the same way as well.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty popular. And
well, Briones is now they have a whole like trail system with maps and everything.
That's right.
Yeah, you can do it.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
But okay, so what you just said right there, you have to know someone. That's a good segue to shout out our boy Nikki Mullins.
Yeah.
Satellite Locals.
Satellite Locals. Let's go.
Yeah. So Nikki's an amazing filmmaker.
We love you, Nikki.
Yeah, literally makes some of the most high quality films I've seen in action sports. Like it impresses me every time. No
Hell
joke.
Yeah.
Nikki had a great question. He said, "Is the Bay Area riding scene really welcoming, or is it not? Is it cliquey?" And that resonated with me because, like, coming from the skating background. Skating's very cliquey, very exclusive, and I found the mountain biking scene to be more inclusive, but also kind of hard to access. Kind of like you say, you kind of have to know someone. So I was like, that's an interesting thought. So, I mean, you guys were born and raised here, so you kind of have like, I guess a little more. I'm a little more of an
What would you say,
outsider,
Matt?
but
Well, see, I think that is kind of an interesting point because not only does like you kind of come from skating, you also not from the Bay.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like,
don't say
I mean,
secrets out there.
Yeah. I mean, but like growing up in like Southern California, I think I'd kind of want to hear more of your thoughts because I feel like my answer might be a little jaded, but I mean, I find it, but like again, I've been in the biking community
your entire life
since I was in the 4th grade. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like my older brother rode, and then. Obviously I met Jay, and like we were at the skate park every day, and it was kind of like a pretty natural transition from BMX to mountain biking. So like I kind of had the connections, but I think to answer the question, I say it is. I think I've met a bunch of people like out riding that tell me awesome spots, or they're like, hey, hit me up next time you're out here. Like, let's ride. I think,
dude, we literally met that guy when we were digging this week.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Oh, come check out my hut." And he had a whole secret trail.
Yeah, and like Santa Rosa.
I do want to point out something that you just said with that though, that I'm gonna bring up. You said when we were digging this week, you met a guy, and he said, "Come check out my spot."
That's kind of true.
You have the VIP pass.
Yeah, it is a tell. Like you guys are serious about riding, and so
that's very important out here. And like.
I think that's important for all,
but not as much.
Biking. A lot of the scene. Obviously, it's like it depends on how deep you want to get. But if you're just out here trying to ride, I think all the every place has their secret trails for sure. They always will, and that's gonna be like who if you're trying to ride like the sick shit.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of the stuff out here, man, it's like, hey, like I think this is what's so cool about action sports in general. It is such kind of a niche sport to do. You're not playing like, the big three, right? Like basketball, soccer, football, like whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
It is like you are a different type of breed. You want to do this. So everybody's pretty stoked just to see you come
especially
ride.
if you have like,
that's very true.
Clearly you invested
money
into it.
And honestly, like we can tell if you're green to the sport or not. Yeah. Like we can kind of tell. It's like, oh, are you brand new? Like, your kit usually kind of gives it away, like the bike, whatever. But for the most part, like at least, very seldom I've met people that are just like straight assholes that don't want to help you. So I think in overall, it's super welcoming. I think everybody wants everybody that's in the scene to ride, have a good time. So they're gonna tell you like the stuff that everybody knows about. And it's like, it's really fun, and it's like, hey, check this stuff out, ride this, ride this, ride this. And then it's kind of the thing is like, then you get into like, oh, you're digging. Oh, I've seen you here multiple times. Oh, I've seen you ride. Like, okay, then you.
The trail system starts to expand.
Yeah. Then all of a sudden you're like, whoa, there's a lot more stuff out here. Okay, cool.
He honestly couldn't have said it any better, in my opinion.
So like, to that point, something I've always said to like my skating friends, that you could never go up to a group of skaters in the city, LA, Orange County, anywhere. Say, oh, you guys are skating for the day. Can I skate with you? Can I go to your next spot?
Yeah.
They wouldn't even acknowledge you for better, whatever skating culture is. But I have found in my experience, I've gone up to random riders in random cities and said, hey, I'm here for one day. Can I hit the trails with you? And every time they go, jump right in, follow us. I've even had people say, no, you're leading the lap blind. Like, and
so,
because everybody's out to just have fun for the most part. Like nobody cares.
Yeah. And that's one thing that I want to bring up too. It's like, I hate to always. I won't go there. But so it's very inclusive right now with mountain biking. How it is right now. We like he said, we know if you're new out here. We know there's a lot of new mountain bikers.
Okay, wait, hold on. I think we should unpack that because I think that, like, you guys were when I met both of you, you guys were already way better than me at riding.
Okay.
So like as a new rider, let's say I am, whatever age, 20s, teens, 30s.
It doesn't matter.
I just bought a bike,
40s,
50s, and I'm hitting my local trail. What should I expect, like, rolling up to someone new? Like, are mountain bikers going to be friendly? Because, like, I would say from skateboarders, you can't go up to a group of skateboarders and expect them to be friendly. That's just kind of the truth.
Okay, I would say it's always best to assess your situation, like, because anybody can be an a-hole, right? Like, you can roll up to the wrong mountain biker that's just like a super core, just like, no, dude, like how did you even get here? You could always run up to those kind of guys.
I ran into one of those actually.
And see what I'm saying?
Yeah, we all have,
So like obviously assess your situation, look at it from like a logistical situation, like don't necessarily go into your conversation like, hey, what else can I ride out here? Just like, hey, how's it going? Like, I'm new around here. I haven't really ridden this spot. I rode this trail like a second ago. Like, da-da-da-da-da. What do you think about that? Just like have a conversation with someone. Don't just go into it trying to find the new spot, because like at the end of the day, we're just all out here riding. You know what I mean? So like, we were in that position at some point at any trail system that we go to, no matter what it is. We were in that position at some point. So we know how it feels to go up to someone, what I mean?
Sorry.
Go ahead.
I just wanted to note and add is I do this a lot when I go to new places. Go to your local bike shop. Talk to, like, if you're a roadie, if you're mountain bike, if you're cross country, try to figure out the shop, like what they sell. But go hit those guys up.
Yeah.
Or, or gals, who's over there.
Yep.
Shout out to the, ladies in Sedona.
Shout out.
Yeah. Uh-oh. I don't know your name, but you guys are super fucking cool.
We haven't heard about that.
You guys are really cool. But yeah, I think that's that's something always I will say is like go to your local bike shop because they're probably going to, they'll kind of
lead you in the right direction.
They'll set you up. They'll kind of figure out like from there. It's like, okay, like what do you have? Are you looking to buy a bike? Blah 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 blah. And they'll be able to kind of assess you there. So I always find that helps me a lot when I'm traveling and going to new places.
That's a great tip.
Because again, they're just there for people to want to ride and have a good time. And I think. But yeah, No,
that was a great
on your point. It's like I think you go up to people on the trail, and it's like, hey,
just be a human being, man.
I rode this. I'm
Be
looking
cool.
to ride some other stuff, or like even like I've ridden here a couple times. Like you guys know of like other stuff in the area that like I could pedal, and then usually.
And another good point is if you're doing this like at the trailhead, it might be like I mean it's not gonna be a little weird. It's gonna be like, all right, cool, whatever, we'll like ride up with this. But if you're doing this when you're about to drop in somewhere, it's like, oh, this dude just pedaled this, like.
Yeah, that's also a huge indicator.
Yeah, if you're at the top of the climb,
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like he just pedaled this. He worked his butt off to get up.
he
here.
wants to drop the they want to drop it. We don't, it
know
could
what
be
I mean?
anyone. Yeah,
of course. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah.
Okay, well on that note, our next question.
Speaking of pedaling up.
No, not quite.
Oh, okay.
No, we hate pedaling. Shout out to Lomi Homies, our boy.
Shout out, Lummy Homies.
He had a great question. What is better, East Bay or West Bay? Also, hearing West Bay trips me out because I think East Bay or the Peninsula or SF. Yeah, but it technically is the West Bay.
I've never
called it
wild.
that. Yeah, so but Lomi Homie had a great question.
West Bay, let's go,
bro. What is better for riding?
It's not a crazy idea. Remind me after this because I want to bring it up to you.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
Keep that. Matt, what do you say?
I'm gonna say with I grew up in
He's very biased.
Pleasanton. I'm
He's
super
very
biased. I love some of the riding like in the East Bay. It's
super slept on.
So sick. It's so fun. Well, it's just like, you don't get much elevation, but you realize like, damn, like there's some sick shit out here.
So much
like
stuff.
Some really fun. I mean, and I think also too, East Bay is doing a pretty cool job as well. It's really trying to fight hard to create like a public.
I feel like there's been more advocacy.
I think since COVID.
Shout out Briones, yeah.
I think since COVID, there's been this huge boom in biking. Obviously,
you can't deny it.
And I think there's been this push to realize that like, hey, there needs to be a place for hiking and biking to coexist. Yeah. But even before that, it's just, I mean, that's where I grew up mountain biking. I started mountain biking a lot later. But I think it's super fun. It's really cool. Don't get me wrong, I love the ocean, but I just kind of love just like big oak rolling hills. Oak trees, the rolling hills, like the tall grass in the spring. It's I
literally tell my wife that's my favorite time of the year. Like
man, come April, like after all this rain, it's just like crazy green, like
rolling, like you said, rolling hills. You just when you're
feels like being in a Microsoft background.
Yeah. You're like a Minecraft level or something. Yeah,
it's sick.
Yeah, man, and like to honestly to back this point, I would agree with that because like in the East Bay. Like you said, it's not much elevation, but the elevation you get, people use it very, very well.
Incorrect statement. 100% the opposite.
In my opinion, I think so because like a lot of berms, a lot of stuff. I mean, what are you thinking?
They're all just straight downhill.
Well, that's why I say they use it correctly.
That's
because
not
you have to make it steep.
No, that's not using elevation correctly.
I want it to be steep and fast.
I mean, I want it too. Don't get me wrong. I think we agree on that. But it's just like if you want to use your elevation properly, then you're doing a lot of like switchback stuff, and you're not just putting it straight down the hill. Because the one thing I will admit,
but that's how Briones is, though.
Yeah, I guess
the backside Briones.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, like it's cool.
That curl,
it's fun.
that trail.
I like being scared and steep shit's sick. But as far as like using it wisely, probably not.
I mean, all right, can I get my 2 cents?
Of course.
So I think like in terms of like it feels weird to say West Bay, West Bay Peninsula trails. It's like I think we have more quality but less quantity. Where we have Pacifica here, and we have Fassler, we have Boy Scout, FR, all that stuff.
I don't even know what Vassler is.
Dude,
Fassler. Yeah, it's like the main named after Jean Fassler, the first female mayor of California.
Wow.
But it's Fassler Avenue. She was the first mayor of Pacifica. Anyway, that's unrelated. But we call the trails fast, and we have trails down. It's like one of the most proper DH runs in the Bay Area, blowing up the local spot.
Fun. Sick.
Yeah, but it's legal.
That's
it's
what
out
we're
there.
Here for.
But if you want to ride multiple spots that have really easy access, especially if you're by yourself, I think East Bay, I hate to say it, might be a little better because you can show up to JMP, explore JMP, find it by yourself. You can show up to Briones, Rockville, whatever other spot I'm missing, Dirt World. Like there's some spots you can just show up to and ride.
Yeah.
that are very close to each other, maybe 20, 30 minutes. Like you could hit like 2 or 3 trail systems within 30 minutes of each other. But over here, you're going to drive you're going to get everything we got here. Then you're going to have Carlmont. Yeah. And then UC.
And you only really want Carlmont if you're a free rider, really.
Let's just be honest. Then there's going to be huge spaces where there's nothing in between. Where East Bay, there's like kind of like a little more trail systems in between.
Yeah, a little bit more like pocketed areas.
Yeah. Yeah.
And but also there's just a land for it, you know? Like it just kind of, that's just how it naturally plays out. I feel like out here it's just like, it's city to city and then just like these huge hills in between that like people aren't really like living in. Yeah. For the most part. Like, I don't know if that might not be true. But
I get what you're saying.
Yeah, I think like just like there's just so much more public land.
Shout out Poe, Mr. Percussive. Poe's a deep East Bay trail rider. Everybody knows Poe. He moved out of the Bay Area a couple years ago. We miss you, buddy. But he pointed out to me, if you look at a map, there is a huge, like most people don't realize, an extensive mountain range and backcountry area that you can trace from Richmond all the way to past Pleasanton, where you can get unobstructed backcountry.
Interesting.
And there's a gravel route, I guess you can ride through that. But that blew my mind. But I was like, wait, there actually might be more open mountain ranges in the East Bay than there are on this side.
Well, that makes sense.
Think about the ridge. Like, you can ride that thing from Sunol all the way into, like...
Yeah, for like 50-something miles of pure backcountry. I've just
gone on like e-bike rides on like the top of the hill, just bored.
Yeah.
And I was like, I've been up here forever.
I just think of what my little jump spot that I have out there. My little like it's like inside of a cow pasture, right? But if you
when we first saw that, I was like, that's a huge open space.
Oh man, I've hiked deep back there.
That's what I'm saying. And if you keep going, you're going back to Twin Peaks. You're going all the way. You're just gonna keep going into wilderness. It just there's nothing there. You're just gonna keep going. You're just gonna keep going until you hit San Jose. It's kind of crazy. Insane. What do you say?
I know, it's pretty crazy.
It's absolutely insane, and that's why, like I said, I have like my little, not even like a little, just a valley right there of just like a few jumps. You know what I mean? And there's so much stuff you can build out there you can't build out there because it's so vast. You're like, what do I do next? Where do I go? What do I do? And it just keeps going.
You know what you do? A lot of the other land belongs to like farmers and shit.
Well,
like
you know what you do, right?
Trespassing.
Keep it core, baby.
Sorry.
You know what you do, especially when you're trespassing? You buy an e-bike.
Yeah.
Which brings us to we have a combo.
Great segue, brother.
That was beautifully smooth.
Thank
like
you.
A hot knife through butter. That was sick. Do it again.
I'm gonna give a shout out to Cody Seaton, which, by the way, your name sounds like a pro rider. It just for some reason does.
Cody Seaton.
And also shout out to Thickbird, our boy Sam.
Yeah.
They both asked questions about e-bike that I think can be meshed into one. Cody asked, why do all e-bikes look the same? Mm-hmm. And then Sam said, why doesn't anyone sell an e-bike with a dual crown?
They do.
Who sell from?
Specialized.
Specialized does?
Knievo.
Actually, that wasn't Sam's question. He says, why isn't more doing
it? I mean, you can get the Knievo like in a single crown, obviously, but you can get one in a dual crown as well.
I guess the first question, or the second question, Sam's question about why people don't run more dual crowns on e-bikes. I think the dual crown is just so limiting. And Sam, you're an absolute ripper, and will drop me really any day of the week, and you've almost killed me on a ride because you're that fast. Trying to chase you, that shit was crazy. I have seen God before that crash, but I don't know. I just think it's so limiting, and it's like you can't turn the bars as tight because you got to like bump it off, and you got to start putting the little pads on the side of it, and I don't know. I think it's like a fun gimmick to know you can do it. It's not even a gimmick. Like, it's sick. It's you can just plow through shit. But I think it takes away from me just like the functionality of my bike.
And my question to add to that is like, are you really like are we getting the dual crown for the stiffness of the fork, or are we getting the dual crown for the travel? Because are we really using that much travel? 200 millimeters.
Oh, for sure. For sure. On the e-bike full speed, dude, I have the Zeb 170 on mine, and I go through that travel.
It's just the extra way of the bike, and then also too is like depends on the rider. Obviously, me, I'm probably not gonna put it through it, but like Sam's, that's a big dude. He's like 6'3" or some shit. He's hella tall.
8 foot tall.
Yeah, he's a Sam's. He's a goddamn
500 pounds.
He's a goddamn Sam's squash. No, but like so I think like if you're maybe like a taller, just like bigger dude, I could see it. For me, I think it would be fun to have, but like
it looks fun. Yeah,
it looks sick. It looks like you're riding a Harley. It's dope.
He has a good point because I mean, you with forks coming out like the Zeb 190, you have fork to 180. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
I think that's
how many e-bikes are really. So like those forks are. I mean, we just saw what Simon Godziak did on his Zeb 190, and he went down natural selection course, no problem. I mean, Brandon Semenek had, I think, was it the Zeb 190 on that one too at Rampage?
Yeah, maybe 180 on Rampage.
Yeah, and then I think, I mean, like, so those forks are very, very capable now as well. So. I don't know.
Yeah. However,
I do think an e-bike with a dual crown looks really cool. Like you said, it looks like riding with the Harley, and like also like,
but like
e-bike.
just get a Sur-on.
No.
Get out.
But I mean, if you're saying it looks like a Harley, you want to ride a Harley, and you want a dual crown, and you want to ride an e-bike, get a freaking Sur-on.
Matt, should we kick Jay out?
Where's
right
the
now?
line?
No, sir.
I'm not
advocating.
longer co-host.
I'm not advocating. I'm not advocating.
He's kicked out.
I'm not advocating. I'm being devil's. Okay, I was gonna say I'm not advocating. I'm being devil's
advocate.
advocate.
So I'm advocating.
Called out.
Yeah.
Boom.
But
This man.
to bring it back, I say all this. I've never ridden the e-bike with the dual crown. I imagine it's significantly different than actually riding a DH bike. The geometry is probably not the same.
Yeah.
No,
obviously, it's just not as aggressive.
Has you way farther back.
Yeah. So it's probably sick, but
it's honestly probably super sick.
It's probably dope.
It's probably super sick.
Should we go to the first question? Kind of probably why they look the same.
Yeah. So So why do you guys think all e-bikes coming out look the same? Like Santa Cruz has always been like a pioneer in terms of their Geo, the VPP, and then their last e-bike came out like. The top Pink Bike comment was like, it looks like they just went to the top frame manufacturer and got the most generic frame. I think a lot of people are disappointed. Like, why did Santa Cruz go? I mean, I love the Horse Link. It's what I got on my bike, but I think people are kind of upset about that. And I think a lot of the companies are kind of going in that, like, either you have the Ibis or the Scott, I don't remember their e-bike models, to have these crazy designs, or you have very, like...
Rocky Mountain's got a funny e-bike design, too.
Yeah, and it's like, why do they...
That might be the reason why they all look the same.
It is. So part of it is the motor, obviously.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So you can only run a certain set of cranks on it.
Mm-hmm.
They're like e-bike specific cranks. So I think part of the design,
in the bottom bracket,
in the bottom bracket. So it all has to be able to work together with the Bosch motor or whatever you're running.
Motors are out.
And then
that's the new hot one.
Yeah, and on top of that though, it's kind of just how the bike has to be designed. The whole point of it is the batteries on the bottom. You can't put it anywhere else.
Center of gravity.
Yeah,
that's a really good
it's got to that weight's got to keep it low, and it's got to be placed over the bottom bracket. So the Rain, I used to call it the Camel because it was tan and had the crazy lump on the side. Shit, it's getting better now, but it's like that's just where the battery goes until they can figure out that. I think a lot of it is gonna always kind of look the same. Obviously, you can kind of keep your linkage and the difference in that, but I think there kind of just has to be the cookie cutter aspect a little bit.
I agree.
And then but the Rocky Mountains look super weird because you can run any crank set in it, so it doesn't have to be e-bike specific. So it's like proprietary in some kind of way.
Pretty sick.
Personally, I don't like the look of it. I think it looks really weird. It's got this funny little triangle in the front, I feel like the e-bikes either look very standard or they're doing these, like I said, like the Ibis, and it's like they're doing these crazy designs. Yeah, and like it if it doesn't look good, you're not gonna ride it.
Yep. I will say, I saw one. I think it's called like a Crestline or something like that.
Oh, Crestlines are cool.
Those look very sleek, super cool. I like them.
Yeah, Crestline. I think everyone I know who rides a Crestline is based in SoCal, so I think they might be a SoCal, but they're like a boutique.
They look cool.
Shout out Chris Bucci. He rides them. If I said your last name correctly. Yeah, he rips on him.
Like that's a different. This is something that I do want to talk about. Where is the line with technology and mountain biking? When do we draw it, and when do we say like this is getting a little bit too much? Because like I said, with e-bikes now, if we throw a dual crown on that, if we throw that gearbox on there, we have automatic shifting. The only thing we're missing is the throttle.
Yeah, the throttle. Yeah. Not even the motor, the throttle.
We're like, so it's pedal assist.
Well, you're asking Matt and I have old school perspectives where he's got the live valve on his bike, and I'm like,
no, you don't.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, on his trans.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, he's had but he.
How is that?
You
okay,
can speak
sorry.
to it,
oh,
but
what?
I think Matt and I are a little more like purists, where I kind of. I feel like in terms of like smart technology, I don't want any more Bluetooth on my bike. I don't want any Bluetooth on my bike.
I respect
but
it.
I love the
Unless
advanced
shifting. Shout out Bluetooth shifting.
Bluetooth shifting is sick.
If I didn't have to pay for it, I would ride it. But I'm all into like the more engineering of the bikes and advancing the engineering, like wheel building, suspension, braking, tire compounds. Into that, I think there's a lot of progression.
Okay.
But this idea of like your bike being connected to your phone and there's a computer within your bike that's doing calibration, that's where I'm like, I don't want technology to go that direction. But if it's enhancing the engineering, like we're like kind of going back to the natural selection conversation, it's like if we're going to keep going bigger, if they're going to be doing 140-foot front flips, they're going to have to adapt the suspension, tire, all that shit to
naturally.
It. But having a Bluetooth sensor in your bike is not going to help you do a 140-foot front flip. Unless it's going to do it for you, which like pretty soon, that's a whole nother rant. But like, that's what I think the line is drawn is like, it still has to be up to the rider. And I don't want like the technology to compensate for the rider. Yeah. If that makes sense.
Yeah. No, I think that's a perfect point. I think that was like the big push with like e-bikes at the beginning, which I've always said, I love e-bikes. I'm not hating on them. I had one. Great. I want a new one. But
I want an e-bike so bad.
What it did was just get people that, no, I'm not saying that shouldn't be on the mountain, but that couldn't ride like specific trails. And I think it thinks people can ride outside of their ride.
And that connects to the point of like, is it welcoming? And if you climb to the top of the trail, you earn some respect by being at the top of the trail. If you're at the top of the trail with an e-bike,
I have a hot take.
I think that stipulation's gone now. I think e-bikes are so integrated.
I will climb somewhere on an e-bike.
I don't think anybody's gonna care. So, like hikers will fucking hate you.
So I do have a hot take going back to that answer. I'm glad you brought that up because. Is it welcoming? Yes, I think it's welcoming, but are all trails inclusive?
No.
No.
Oh, yeah, it depends on that's
and
a
that
good point.
Conversation. I'm sorry, we need to draw a hard line in the sand. That conversation needs to stop. All trails do not need to be inclusive because that will get people hurt. That will get people hurt, and that will get people to stop riding mountain bikes. That will get all kind of legalities going, and that
Send them home.
That will get people hurt. I mean, think about it. If you go to a bike park and you're like, "Oh, this is a 60-foot gap jump," you're not gonna hit it. But someone that can like get the speed to hit a 60-foot. Okay, I'm kind of taking a little bit too far.
I know exactly what you're saying.
The first 60-foot table, it's like, all right, like I'm gonna try to send a 60-foot table, but they're not gonna really send it. They're gonna roll it. You know what I mean? Like,
see, I actually disagree. I think there's actually been a larger incorporation of that. I think a lot of bike parks now, Bellingham is like a good example. I mean, obviously Whistler's been doing it forever. I mean, the Sedona Bike Park. Like, there's a lot of new public parks that have stuff to push progression, big jumps.
Yeah.
And then just says there, it's like, this is a pro line. Like,
yeah, but Bellingham, you also have Blue Steel, which is gaps. And then at Whistler, you also have Dirt Merchant, which are gaps jumps. You're not going to hit those jumps unless you're extreme.
Yeah, but I think...
Well, okay, to your point, you're saying that certain trails, like the first time I went to Snow Summit Bike Park, like 2016, I remember being amazed that they let me there.
Because the stuff
was so incredibly dangerous. And I remember doing whatever the name of the big trail. They have this big wooden. I remember being high up on this wooden roll, and you have to drop it in. And like, I just remember thinking like, oh, I'm good. I'm glad I've been practicing. Because like, if I had ridden this, like, I just bought my mountain bike. Let me go to the bike park. Like you get a new skateboard. You go to the skate park. Sorry, and be like, wow, they didn't even vet me, my skill. Like I could.
You can go drop it, but yeah. It's gnarlier
and that
than
blew
that.
my mind. Yeah.
Skiing and snowboarding, it's way gnarlier than that.
Yeah, then people get messed up all the time.
But
and
boys, that's all in the terms and conditions.
And that's my point. That's my point. That's exactly what I'm saying.
We signed our lives away.
That's
South Park episode.
Like, they don't give a fuck.
That's exactly what I'm saying, right? So like, so with me.
So should we have like waivers at every trail?
But no. What I'm trying to say is like with me, it's like don't come over to my gap jumps that like I like hitting and stuff like that and say like, oh, these are too dangerous. Fill those in because that's happened at our local bike park before. Like our local dirt jump bike park, like it's been around since 1999. I want to say they started to build it, and it was like a dump at first, and then it was super sick dirt jumps in the early 2000s. But for some reason, the city got way too involved, and they're like, "Hey, not everybody can ride those jumps way over there that are for experts, so we have to fill those in." And now those jumps aren't what they used to be, and now they have gaps in them again. Like the city understood, like, okay, now we have a good progression of, like, we have super small tables, medium tables, and now we have a good flow going, right? And so we have the gap jumps for the experts, so it makes sense, But at the same time, you can't come to somewhere where you can't hit those jumps and then say, I can't hit those, fill those in with dirt so I can hit those and feel included.
Yeah, that's fair.
I'm sorry, but that's, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm not saying that we shouldn't have progression, because progression, I wouldn't be able to hit those jumps without progression. I wouldn't be.
Yeah, but exactly. It's like learning. It's like, hey, you should be on the bunny slopes. We're gonna put you on this double black diamond.
You know what I'm saying?
You're gonna be pissed when you can't ride it.
You know what I'm saying? Like I've been there before. I've been to Kirkwood. And I've gone up to the top with my friends.
Sorry, buddy, you gotta get bucked.
Look, I've gone to the top with my friends. I literally, the first time I went skiing at Kirkwood, they're like, oh yeah, this is all chill. We go up to the top of the mountain. It's all foggy. It's just a steep little. If you've been to Kirkwood, you know what I'm talking about. It's just ice.
Sheet.
It's just hitting you, and I'm like, what are we doing? I slid down the first 200 yards. I wasn't like, no, you need to close those. That was I did that. You know what I mean? I put myself in that position. So I don't know. I kind of went on a little rant there, but that's just my 5 cents.
No, you know what that's the perfect time for?
What's that?
The next question.
See, that's the best friend energy right there. All right. So our last listener question from our good friend Andrew.
Shout out, Andrew.
We love you, Andrew.
Love you, Andrew.
Andrew does not ride mountain bikes, but he rides bikes, and he had a great question, very open-ended. What do you guys think is the best music to ride to? And I mean, he didn't ask, do you guys ride to music?
So yeah, here's kind of my hot take. I don't know if you can call it that. I hate descending when I'm listening to music.
I agree.
I cannot ride skate parks when I listen to music. I don't like to drop when I'm listening to music. I'll climb to music or like to podcast or whatever just to pass the time.
Yep.
But if I have noticed, I think if I drop when I'm listening to music, I have a shittier descent.
I'm the opposite. It helps me tune in because I don't listen to the noises of my bike, and it helps me ignore the feedback in a good way.
Whoa. See, I'm the exact opposite. I want to hear it because if I can hear my bike and the texture I'm on rocks, roots, whatever, I know how the bike's gonna respond. But if I can't hear it, like for some reason, like I just
interesting.
See, I'm
a little lost.
I'm like a big overthinker, especially like when I'll doubt when music's loud. So I guess my answer to the question is I like riding to techno, like 60 beats per minute, which is like something that took me a minute to figure out. That your heart rate can like sync up with that, like 120 beats per minute is like a very high climbing heart rate. But you can kind of get that if you're descending. I found it tunes out my brain, and there's been like studies to prove that like music with a consistent BPM can kind of make a meditative state. And like kind of the almost exact opposite of what you're saying is I found like my fastest laps is when I have music full volume because the voices in my head don't come in. Like I'm just focused on that. But I've noticed I'm very rare in that. Like most people, like I won't drop with it. They want to hear the feedback from the bike. So
because I'm also too busy thinking, I'm like, what's the next song gonna be? And then like I get to the
top.
you
have to line up your
and
playlist.
I get to the top. I'm like, dude, like I don't know, like when I just think like every drop, I'm like, oh, I kind of want some rock, and then like out of nowhere, I'm like, maybe I just want something like instrumental that's like fast and going. It's just like I feel like I can never decide what I want. I don't want to waste like 20 minutes trying to queue up like 4 songs.
Sorry, I saw it when Cam Zink before he dropped into his Rampage run. He pulled up, and I'm like, I'm curious. I've seen a couple of Rampage riders put on songs, and I'm like, you're putting your life on the line. What song is it? How did you choose it?
Question.
Like, did you know? Like, you knew it would slap in that moment. So you must have like not listened to it. You know,
it's just Duolingo.
Oh my goodness.
¿Dónde está la biblioteca? All right, time to backflip this.
But no, like listening to your guys' reaction kind of changed my answer a little bit because at first I immediately agreed with Matt that descending I don't like music, but I like it climbing, right? But I'm gonna be honest with you. I've never really listened to music mountain biking that much to really make an educated answer to that. But I will tell you, growing up in a skate park, whenever I would try a new trick, it's like, all right, we need something to pump me up.
Yeah, this is a big, I definitely remember these days of Jason and shit with the headphones.
You know what I'm saying?
And I feel like it is like full dubstep mode, right?
Yeah.
Do you like dubstep?
So back in the day, straight up just.
Is this when you were popular, dubstep. Cool J?
Oh yeah. Oh,
so you were popular and cool, playing dubstep, doing backflips. All right, we figured this guy out, and he likes Surons too.
Yeah, dude.
No, so yeah, back in the day, like I definitely want something super heavy. Still to this day, I still want something super heavy, but it's not dubstep. It's more like hardcore.
Hey, you're a big metal guy, like
so you're a metal guy.
Yeah. So a little bit about me. The dubstep came from being a metalhead as a kid. If you, I won't go too deep into that, but if you get it, you understand.
I know what you mean. It's that
It's like if you get it, you understand. You know, still got breakdowns. That's the drop. Like da 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 da. So like I had to kind of transition from like being a metalhead, like hip hop kid as a kid. Hip hop head as a kid, and then went to dubstep in high school, kind of after high school, and then like as you get older, I feel like you kind of retract back into what you liked as a kid because you can afford everything that you wanted as a kid. You can go back into your nerd days. So I've been really big into heavy music again lately, and like I feel like it helps me, like you said, get out of my head a little bit more. So when I would drop into the super steep stuff, I'm not something that my friend, like I'm talking to the camera now, talking to the podcast, something that my friends, these two, they would say about me. Matt already said it. I'm not going to climb my bike. Like, I don't like climbing. I'm a skate park kid. I like jumping. I like doing tricks and stuff like that.
Checks out.
So it's like, so I always want to be like pumped up.
Actually, I disagree. I think you're secretly a road rider who loves climbing. Oh my God. I think you wear spandex when we're
just going to stop this conversation right now because this guy's trolling.
I think he likes his intervals, his bike trainer.
Yeah, but like long story short, so when I'm up at the top and I'm like about to drop into something super steep, I know it's going to be fast. I know these guys are going to pull away from me and I have to keep up. I want to be as tuned in as possible. So I don't think about music because I'm focusing on that next turn,
the rear tire in front
of you. I'm focusing, you know what I mean? I'm focusing on being fast so I don't get lapped by you guys, you know what I mean? But you brought up something that I never really thought of. When I'm in a skate park, I put the music on so I get out of my head, get out of my thoughts, and that might help me more when I'm dropping in, thinking about being scared, dropping into the steeps, because when I'm doing a new trick, I'm thinking about being scared, and I'm like, all right, get out of your head. You know what you're doing. Just do what you know what you have to do. And when I drop in, that's what you have to do in the steeps. When you're riding your bike, you just have to let your bike do what you have to do and trust yourself.
When you're at the skate park, would you do that? Because I was thinking, I never listen to music when I'm riding with people, unless it's maybe a climb. Might put on something like kind of background noise. But I'm by myself, I'll have like full volume headphones, climb and drop. Would you, if like other people are at the skate park, would you still listen to music?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I think the skate park's just a little different though, because it's like so much easier to just drop the headphone.
That's what I was gonna go into. Like,
just drop one. Yeah.
If I'm not trying anything, then it's just like you said, drop the headphone. I'm with the boys. You know what I mean? If I'm about to drop in, or if I have one headphone in, like, and I hear the song, it's like, all right, I'm about to drop in. Like, put the headphone in.
Let's go.
Take some laps, because the skate park is a lot more chill. You know, you're seshing. You know, like going back to our point earlier when we were talking, when you brought up the X Games and like the new way of doing like the park finals or whatever. It's just a big sesh. You're just riding with the boys at the skate park. When you start dropping in, you start to naturally get in order. So like if I see you drop in first, it's like, all right.
If you know how to ride a skate park.
If you know skate park
how to ride a skate park.
But Augusta was very specific too, because it was like such a segmented park.
It's totally unrelated, but also related. Have you guys ever heard of like cotillion, where they teach manners? It's like the super old school thing.
Can't say that I have.
Everything you.
Is that what,
should we do a class for skate park manners?
Dude, skate park etiquette could actually be really good.
Yeah, like what you just said right there, like the code. It's like, like, what do you do? Especially, it goes I guess that goes back to is it a welcoming scene? It's like if you show up to a new skate park,
parks are so different.
Yeah, because like I've traveled around and I know the code. Like you don't try to hit the biggest stuff. You see who the better rider is and kind of give them the
There's
right
always
away.
the qualifying trick.
Yeah.
Like you always kind of drop in and do something that like might be kind of flashy, and they're like,
if you didn't grow up in that space, which like I guess we all did, I think that's an interesting point. Like we understand how to be welcomed into these spaces. We know you don't snake someone, you don't do this,
we know
you don't claim a trick, you don't try a trick that someone else is trying. Like we know that. But people might not know that because I've been at Pacifica. I saw a guy. I was trying a friendship, and I could tell he's like a guy who just got a skate. I used to skate 10 years ago, and he started trying the same trick as me. And I could tell he saw it as like he was so excited to try the same trick as me. But I was like, dude, you don't try the same trick as me at the skate park unless we're like close friends and we're competing. And
we're playing skate or something.
Yeah, that's fun.
But I'm glad you brought that up because he was just trying to be like have camaraderie with you. Like, hey, like I see your trick. Like I'm trying it with you. Is skate park etiquette changing?
Point is, Jackson rides with music. Jay rides with music. Matt does not.
Damn. So
all good points for next episode, though.
We won't talk about skate parks anymore.
Write that down. We'll come back
skate
to that
parks.
We'll come back to that.
Otherwise, we'll be here hour 4, like pressing through the Shire.
It's how easy it is to talk to you guys, man.
Yeah, we're in deep right now. So speaking of skate parks and riding bikes, Jay, when's your next bike coming?
I have it.
You have your next
I have
bike?
the frame. I have the frame. We're still building up on parts and stuff like that, but so I have it right here. Actually, hold on, just a second. So here's the frame.
Ooh.
So right here,
Immediately, such a sick color.
I love
it's almost like oil slick, but not oil
it's
slick.
like pearl.
Yeah. So I wouldn't even know what to call this color. Sorry, Matt from Ferrum. Excuse me. Shout out to Matt, one of the coolest guys. Shout out to Matt. But no. Shout out to Matt from Ferrum, one of the coolest guys that I know in the bike industry. One of the only people I know in the bike industry, to be honest with you. But I wouldn't even know what to call this color. In some light, it has like
this. It looks like it might be the Illusion Violet.
It's definitely the Illusion Violet. Oh, good call, brother.
And it's a chromoly steel frame.
Chromoly steel frame. It's
dude, the welds on it look crazy.
Yeah, so it's made
super well done.
Yeah, so he's based in Tennessee. It's made in America. 140 mil of travel if I use a 210 by 55 stroke shock, or I can get 130 mil of travel if I use a 210 by 50. It's 160 up front, very progressive. One thing that I found out that the wheelbase. Okay, so I have a size 2, so technically a medium. Or
they do like 3 sizes, right?
Yeah. So right now, I think he actually only has 2 sizes right now on the site, but this is technically a medium if you look at the sizes and like the specs and geometry on most frames out there right now. But I noticed that the wheelbase is it's like 1190 or something like that.
It's a long bike.
No, actually,
it's short.
Extremely short for most, because I've looked at it on the status. I've looked at it with the propane spindrift, and these are bikes with a lot more travel than it, but you would ride it the same, right? It's like a aggressive enduro bike, but less rear travel, basically. Yeah. But you could ride it 29. You could ride it mullet.
Looks pretty indestructible.
Yeah.
If you know anything about Jay, the chromoly frame is one textbook. But
it feels like Mjolnir when you pick it up. You have to be
you're dishing out of backflips at 10 feet in the air.
And they last. Yeah. I mean, the last Ferrum that I had was a size bigger, and it was 180 in the front, 170 in the back. That was the like NV 170 something 160.
And we tried to climb the Lost Coast on that.
Oh my lord!
But dude,
that was a miserable day.
That was the last time Jay rode a mountain bike.
Dude, I think it was.
I
think it actually was.
Side note: ask us a different day. We thought Jay died.
Yeah. But dude,
that was a scary day.
These welds are like so clean and impressive.
Yeah.
Like,
so
really clean.
Yeah. So So Matt, he's a stickler on making sure that every frame is very clean. Every weld is as perfect as possible. He doesn't want any frame going out to anyone that's not up to his standards, and his
Does
standards
he make
are
the frame?
Yeah, I was gonna ask, like, does he do it in house, or do he have like a small team out? And like you said, they're from Tennessee.
Yeah. So actually, originally they're based out of Las Vegas.
Okay, that's why.
Sorry, Nevada.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I thought it was Nevada. That you were, like,
so he was
from.
based in Nevada a few years ago. He moved to Tennessee. He's actually really close to the Windrock Bike Park right now, so that's kind of his local digs right now, where he does a lot of the testing for these bikes and whatnot. He has a few different frames out. This one, I just want to make sure that I'll say the right one. This one is the NV140. He has the LV160, and then he has a 190 frame, bike park frame. He's not making them right now, but if there's a lot of interest in them, I'm sure he'll get them going again. And then he has the NVHT, which is the hardtail that you can ride up to 180 millimeters on it.
I got that one from you.
Yeah. So that thing's badass. Still super playful, still super fun, but really aggressive hardtail. So they have a bunch of different bikes. It's all chromoly, very well made, American made. They get them painted. I want to look up this guy because I want to shout him out, because actually, just go to the website ferrumbikes.com. You'll see all the information I'm talking about, and go get you one, because I love these bikes. If you just want to use and abuse your bike, get one of these bad boys. External cable routing. I really can't say enough things about it because it's simple to the point. We're just ready to ride, you know.
Also, shout out external cable routing.
Yeah.
I feel like that's underrated. It's kind of one of those things just like no one really asked for internal cable routing.
No one asked for it.
Yeah, external cable routing is so much better and more convenient.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
And I've noticed that I'm a big comment reader, and I like to go on different forums and stuff. Vital MTB, I'm on there every day. Pink Bike, I'm on there every day. And from the comments that I read, everyone is excited when a new bike comes out and it has external cable routing.
Yeah,
everyone's very excited about it.
I forgot what company had the only option they offered was the headset cable routing, and everyone on Pink Bike was like, I'm not gonna buy that bike. It's been having it for 5-10 years, you know, like you're not gonna yeah.
But yeah, man, I'm really excited to get back on this bike. It's a smaller frame.
We're excited for Chubbs to be back on.
I think everyone's excited.
Yeah. So I'm really excited. All I need is a wheel set and a rear shock, and then I have everything I need to get rolling. So,
dude, let's be on the trail
working
soon.
on it. Yep, we're working on it. We should see it in like a month or two. We'll be good. But yeah, shout out Ferrum, shout out Matt. Thank you for getting me this frame again. Super excited.
Cool. Man, I'm excited to see you on the trails.
Thanks, bro. I'm excited, bro.
Well, I think that about wraps it up.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening. If you listened this far, we love you. We mess with you.
Let us know, please.
Yeah. Shout out to you as a homie.
Yeah, straight up.
Give us feedback, man. Your questions made the episode.
Yep.
We're going to try to have some guests lined up soon. Jay and I have a couple ideas of some cool guests. Hopefully you hear from us soon, and much love.
Much love. Peace out.